Hi guys, hope you're doing well. My name's Jack, and in this video we're going to be covering ICP. Let's dive in. So before we get in, if you haven't already, please do consider hitting that subscribe button and clicking the notification bell. I've been trading here full time for 5 years, and I'm literally giving you my trading ideas for free on YouTube. So go on ahead and click subscribe. I will probably help you out at some point. So ICP then, so we're on the weekly time frame here on ICP versus the dollar. And just to quickly summarize what we covered the other day, as nothing much has really changed. So ICP is currently breaking below our EMA band here on the weekly time frame, which typically is a negative signal in the sort of medium to long term. Normally when you see the way this candle here is actually closed below last week, and we're currently following through on that. So the last time this happened was in June of 2024, and obviously we all know downside followed. And if you stick this on any other sort of altcoin, let's look at Solana, for example, generally speaking, when you see the breakdown there, it's normally not great news. So just be aware that that has happened. But obviously that can be invalidated if we see obviously a break back above this EMA band, which is currently falling at $10.20. Additionally then, on our RSI here, so we had been tracking this breakout of this downsloping RSI trend line for quite a while now here on the channel. Until now, ICP has been holding above our midline here, which has been good. However, if we're looking here, last week we actually did close below our midline. So that's also not a great signal. Generally speaking, if we look back in the past, when the RSI breaks below the midline, generally speaking, more downside is to follow. And that signal has now happened, guys. So we've closed below our EMA band and we've closed below the RSI midline. So with these two signals, it does indicate that there could be more downside in store. However, they are not fully formed yet. They have closed below, but they're still at the point now that they could very easily invalidate. This could, if we have a really bullish day, like this RSI could flick back up here and the price could be back above our EMA band before you know it. This is crypto after all. But for the moment, that has not happened. And yeah, these are two warning signs that you should be at least paying attention to and having them on your chart. So if we just nip down to the daily time frame here. So on the daily time frame, I've just removed this EMA band here. So we've been tracking this upsloping trend line for quite a while here on the channel. And I had mentioned this target here at $8.80 because it was this lower wick and also had confluence with our trend line support here. Now, ICP has now perfectly retested that right now. In fact, we're seeing a small bounce here in the immediate short term, which is good, and sort of what you would expect from arriving at a support level like this, because it has, every time we've hit it, we have bounced. So in the immediate short term, we are in a downtrend here on the daily time frame. There's no real bullish divergences here on the daily time frame in the RSI either, although we are slightly overextended below our EMA band. So we could potentially be looking at retesting this level around about this downsloping trend line and this EMA band. And in fact, if we nip down to the 4-hour time frame, we can see here we have currently got a bullish divergence forming here on the 4-hour time frame on the RSI, and this is forming while we're at this level of support here, this trend line support, and also this horizontal support as well. So it wouldn't surprise me at all, guys, if we do see a slight pump in ICP in the next sort of 48 hours. And if we do see that pump, I would be targeting basically this trend line here, which is equally the daily EMA band. So basically you're targeting between $10.30 and sort of $10.50. That would be my initial target if we do see this bounce from this 4-hour bullish divergence at this support level. Now, this would become more, if we can see an actual breakout above this trend line, that would change my target to start looking at sort of some of these higher targets, starting at $12 and then $15. But what we need to do is actually see if we're going to break this trend line or not. But basically, to summarize here on the daily time frame and the 4-hour, in the immediate short term, it's looking like ICP is probably going to see a bounce here because we're at this key level of support, both this pivot point here and our upsloping trend line. And we also have that bullish divergence on the 4-hour time frame occurring at the support level. So yeah, you've got your target there, basically $10.30 to $10.50. And again, if we see a breakout of this trend line, you would be looking at targeting those higher levels. Now, on the Bitcoin pair, which is looking slightly less rosy. So the Bitcoin pair, I know a lot of my viewers don't actually watch the Bitcoin pair that much, which is, I understand why. But basically, we have just made an all-time low on ICP on the Bitcoin pair, and this is ICP divided by Bitcoin. So yeah, we just made an all-time low there, which obviously isn't great. Normally, when you make an all-time low, you're generally going to go further to the downside. Now, one thing we do have going for us here is that our RSI is oversold on the daily time frame. And if we look in the past year of when this happens, we were oversold here in November 2024. We saw a bounce. We were oversold here in the second half of November 2024. And obviously, we saw a big bounce. And we are now oversold here. So what would change the game here? What would change this and sort of make us think that we're going to see higher targets in the Bitcoin pair is that, see this level that we're tracking here, the previous all-time low? If we can see ICP break above this, retest it, then that would be a signal that we're potentially looking at some further upside, and you would also have a place to put your stop loss, which would be just below the low. So that basically, on the Bitcoin pair, that's what I would be waiting for. I'd be looking for basically break back above this level here at 900 Satoshis, a retest, and then we can put our stop loss in there and target basically back up to that trend line again. So all in all, just to summarize then, ICP is looking likely to see at least a relief rally in the immediate short term, potentially up to $10.30 to $10.50. But on the macro signals are leaning slightly more bearish, just with the weekly signals, break below the CMA band and also breaking below our RSI. They're not great signals, guys. So it's important to pay attention to those. But as I say, in the immediate short term, we're looking like we could see a bounce back up to $10.30. So I'm going to leave this video here. If you got some value from it, please do consider hitting that subscribe button and clicking that notification bell. And I will see you in the next one. Bye-bye.